My husband Julian thought he was a business genius, but his real secret was hidden inside my old laptop. For 10 years, I stayed in his shadow and made him a millionaire, only to be rewarded with divorce papers. But now, 2 years later, I've moved so far ahead that he's desperate for just one look at me. How did a simple housewife build a billion-dollar empire? Let me tell you my story. For me, writing a sentence was like building a whole new world. But when I married Julian, my words became the ladder for his success. Julian was an ambitious businessman. He knew how to impress people, but he never knew how to start a conversation. In the early years of our marriage, when he was struggling with his first big deal, I wrote his entire presentation and speech. That day, he won the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. Standing on that stage, he didn't mention my name even once. I thought maybe he just forgot. As time went by, this became a pattern. Every email Julian sent, every proposal, every investor pitch, even his social media captions were written by me. While I was cooking in the kitchen or putting the kids to sleep, I was finalizing million-dollar deals for him on my phone. He would go out, speak those words, and people would fall in love with his visionary thinking. For me, my home and Julian's happiness were my success. I thought we were a team, but Julian had something else in his mind. As his bank balance grew, his respect for me faded. One evening, when his big business partners came over for dinner, I tried to give some advice about a new market strategy. Julian cut me off in front of everyone. He said, "Claire, you just take care of the house. Leave the business talk to us. You've never even seen the inside of an office. What do you know about strategy?" That night, after everyone left, I asked him why he did that. He looked at me with hate and said, "It's the truth, isn't it? You sit at home all day, watch useless TV shows, and spend my money. You are nothing more than a housewife. I need a power partner now, someone who matches my status." The next morning, divorce papers were sitting in front of me. He said he would give me good alimony so I could be happy in my small world. He crushed my soul, forgetting that the status he stood on was built on my words. I signed the papers without crying. I only asked for one thing, my old laptop and all the drafts I had saved for him. He laughed and said, "Take that junk. I have professional writers now." I left that house immediately with my kids and my words, the words he called junk. The first few months after leaving were very hard. I had a small rented apartment and a broken heart. But I had a treasure, my talent. I thought, if my words could make Julian a millionaire, why couldn't they put food on my table? I changed my name and created a profile as the Ghost. Scribe? I started ghostwriting, but this time not for Julian. I started writing for people all over the world who didn't know how to express their feelings. I worked all night. I realized that the market really valued people who could make complicated business ideas simple and interesting. Slowly, big clients started coming to me. I wasn't just writing content. I was becoming their voice. Started a ghostwriting agency where we didn't just write. We built brand identities. During this time, I started writing a novel, a story about a woman who stayed in the shadow of someone else's success. While I was building my new world, Julian's world was falling apart. Julian had hired expensive professional writers and PR agencies, but they didn't have the soul that my drafts had. Those writers were expensive, but they didn't understand Julian's personality or the details of his business. Julian's first big investor meeting was a disaster. Investors said his words no longer had depth. His confidence dropped. He thought it was just a bad phase, but he didn't realize he had kicked the soul of his success out of his house. My work became so famous that people waited months to meet me. I registered my company as Claire & Associates. I hired women who, like me, were sitting at home wasting their talent. Together, we created campaigns that shocked the bosses of Silicon Valley. I looked at the old drafts I had written for Julian and deleted them. They were the trash of my old life. Now, every word I wrote was mine. I was no longer a shadow. I was the sun. 2 years passed. Julian's company, which was once at the top, was now drowning in debt. He tried to sign new deals, but every time he failed during the final pitch. People started saying that Julian was no longer a visionary. His new girlfriend, who was perfect for his status, left him as soon as she saw his money disappearing. Julian was left alone and worried. He couldn't understand why the man people called a genius couldn't even write a proper speech today. One day, Julian got a chance for a huge international merger. It was the only way to save his company. He needed a proposal report that no one had ever seen before. He contacted every top writer, but no one could meet his expectations. Then someone told him, "If you want to save your company, only one person can help you, the CEO of Claire & Associates. She is the kingmaker of the industry. Now." When Julian found out that this Claire was the same woman he had kicked out, his world stopped. He tried to meet me for days, but my assistants always said, "The CEO is busy." It was the same pain he used to give me every day. When I tried to talk to him and he would say, "I'm working, my time is valuable." Now, my time was valuable. Julian waited outside my penthouse and asked old friends to help him, but I gave no answer. I wanted him to feel the helplessness of having no way out. Finally, the merger date came close. Julian had no choice. His mansion was about to be sold. He realized what he had lost. The power partner he was looking for had been with him for 10 years, but his ego had blinded him. He remembered how I stayed up all night doing research for him while he slept peacefully. He opened his old files for the first time and saw the drafts I had left for him. Every word showed my hard work. He cried and asked himself, "What have I done?" One morning, I was sitting in my office when my secretary came in. "Ma'am, Mr. Julian is outside. He says he won't leave until he meets you." I took a deep breath and said, "Send him in." Julian walked in. He looked completely different. The pride was gone. There was only tiredness and regret on his face. He sat down and looked at me for a long time. I sat in front of him with confidence, wearing a stylish blazer. "Claire," his voice was shaking, "please forgive me. I was wrong. I thought I was doing everything on my own. But when you left, I realized I had nothing. Every success I had was yours." I showed him no sympathy. I simply said, "Julian, you aren't here to say sorry. You are here because your company is dying and you need another draft to save your life." He became silent. He had nothing to say because I was telling the truth. He put a file on my desk. "This merger is my last hope. Please, write this proposal for me. I will pay you whatever you want." I laughed. "Fees? Julian, the price of your whole company is what I pay in taxes in 1 year. I don't need your money." He got up from his chair and knelt on the floor in front of me. The power businessman was begging a housewife, "Claire, please come back. We will start everything fresh. I will give you the status you deserve." I looked at him and said calmly, "Status? Julian, status isn't given. It is earned. You called me a housewife like it was an insult. I built my empire after leaving that house. And as for coming back, a writer never rewrites a trashy old story. I finished your story a long time ago." I picked up his file and put a big, rejected stamp on it. I don't keep people on my client list who use others and then mock them. Julian left the office like a defeated soldier. A few months later, news came that his company went bankrupt and he had to sell everything. People say he now works as an ordinary employee in a small firm, the same work he used to make others do. Sometimes he tries to call me, but my number has changed. For me, he was just a character in my old book. Today, my agency, Claire & Associates, is one of the top firms in New York. We don't just write. We empower people. I created a special wing for women who want to work from home, so no one can ever call them just a housewife. My daughter is growing up now, and she says proudly, "My mom is an empire builder. Teach her that your words are your greatest strength. Never let them be someone else's shield unless they value you." My novel, The Ghost of His Success, was published and became an international bestseller. People think it's just a story, but it was my revenge. A silent but most effective revenge. I didn't destroy Julian. His own ego destroyed him. I just took my support away from him, and that was enough to show him his reality. This revenge was bigger than hurting someone, because it gave me my identity. Now, whenever I go on stage to receive an award, I don't go as a shadow. I go in the light of my own hard work. Julian did me a favor by kicking me out. If he hadn't called me useless, I might never have known my true value. The biggest lesson of my story is this: your words are your legacy, and the pen that writes them should always be in your own hand.